Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well, and welcome to a brand new update on Bitcoin. This is going to be quite an interesting and important video on Bitcoin because I'm going to show you in this video three potential scenarios that if they happen, it means that a potential bull market in Bitcoin has been confirmed, and therefore we would have to adopt a much more bullish outlook on Bitcoin. And I'll show you what these scenarios are in a few moments. Before I do that though, first of all, let me just quickly mention this, that I want to thank every one of you as our subscribers to this channel, because a couple of years ago we had only about a few thousand subscribers on our channel, but now it's grown to over 185,000 subscribers. So I want to thank all of you for being loyal subscribers to this channel. I really appreciate it, and thank you very much indeed. Okay, let's turn our attention now to the charts. And before I show you this, let me first of all show you this and explain to you what this potentially means. So as I explained in my previous video, there are right now two likely projections on Bitcoin. One on the left, which is the slightly more bearish scenario, which shows this could potentially be a wave 4 correction on Bitcoin. And the one on the right, projection 2, which shows a more bullish scenario, that we could potentially be in the wave 3 of a potential uptrend on Bitcoin. Right now, I can tell you that both these scenarios carry about an equal probability, so about a 50% probability on both these scenarios. By the way, I should just say that despite that fact, I actually think that the projection number 1 on the left-hand side, I still think this is the more likely scenario for reasons that I explained in my previous video. The reason actually is because of external factors, because there's so much positive and bullish sentiment right now in Bitcoin, which is kind of a contrarian indicator. The fact is right now that a lot of people right now, a lot of folks have become extremely bullish on Bitcoin, and that usually is a red flag. It's a contrarian indicator when it comes to any market, in fact. So that's why for now, I still consider the projection on the left-hand side, this bearish scenario here, to be more probable. Now, the question is this: how do we go from this to this? How do we know with a high degree of probability, let's say an over 75% probability, that we have actually entered the bull market? That scenario number 2, projection number 2 here, is much more likely. In other words, how do we know that a potential bull market has likely been confirmed in Bitcoin, so that we would have an over 75% probability that in fact we are indeed in a bull market? So let's go now to the charts. So I'm going to show you three scenarios, and if either one of these scenarios plays out, that could potentially increase the probability that we've entered a major bull market in Bitcoin. Scenario number 1 actually is quite simple. Scenario number 1 is called breaking the ceiling. The ceiling that I'm talking about here is this rectangular formation you see here. And it should come as no surprise why I've drawn this rectangular pattern on my chart. This is a daily chart of Bitcoin. That rectangular pattern, in fact, shows the resistance, which is right now between 6,000 and 6,800 on Bitcoin. It's going to be a very important resistance level on Bitcoin. And in fact, what we're saying here in this scenario is that if Bitcoin manages to successfully break through, and let's say if it closes above the 6,800 resistance level and stays above the 6,800 resistance level, that could likely indicate that we've entered a bull market in Bitcoin. I want to make sure I'm clear on this, because in this scenario, not only does Bitcoin have to get above this rectangular formation, but also it needs to stay above the 6,800 level for the bull market to be confirmed. And that is going to be very tough indeed for Bitcoin to do that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's not very likely, because I think that any moves into this rectangular formation between 6,000 to 6,800 are going to be met with strong resistance. And I think it's very likely Bitcoin will likely fail at these levels and drop back down into below the 6,000 level, probably below the 5,500 levels as well. So I actually consider this first scenario to be rather unlikely, but nonetheless, it is a scenario we have to consider. Bottom line is this: if Bitcoin, and it's a big if Bitcoin manages to get above the rectangular formation and stay above 6,800, then likely a Bitcoin bull market has been confirmed, and therefore we'd have to change our minds and adopt a much more bullish outlook on Bitcoin. I should just say this, that if Bitcoin gets above 6,800 and then suddenly within a week or so closes back below 6,000, then no. That would indicate this was a false breakout. It actually would be a bearish scenario, and we'd be looking for a major sell-off back down to the previous lows. All right, guys, so that's scenario number 1 as the ceiling that Bitcoin needs to break, if indeed it actually manages to break that level. Let's go to scenario number 2 now. Scenario number 2 actually is quite simple to understand. Scenario number 2 is simply we go in a monthly chart. What you're seeing here is a monthly time frame of Bitcoin. And what I've done here on this chart is I've shown you an important moving average which is called the 21 monthly moving average, the blue line you see here on my chart. Okay, right now, Bitcoin just slightly above the 21 monthly average, but it has not yet closed above that level just yet. Now, in this scenario, what we're saying is if Bitcoin manages to successfully close above the 21 monthly average twice, in other words, if we see 2 consecutive months of prices closing above the 21 monthly average, the blue line you see here, then a likely bull market has potentially been confirmed. Let me give you an example. Let's go back to the year 2015. And you will see something very interesting. Take a look at this. You'll see that in the year 2015, in fact, after the last major bear market that occurred in Bitcoin, look what happened. Bitcoin came back up, rallied to the 21 monthly average, but failed to actually close above that level. It got rejected from that level. As you can see, that was a bearish scenario, as you can see right there. But look what happened here. On the second attempt, Bitcoin actually succeeded. It closed above the 21 monthly average, twice, by the way. Not just once, but twice. And in this scenario, that is what we're looking for. We need to see 2 consecutive closes above the 21 monthly average. And if that happens, that could potentially confirm a bull market has started in Bitcoin. Look what happened after that. After that happened, Bitcoin started to go significantly higher. Okay, so let's go back now and look at this chart right now. As you can see right here, so Bitcoin currently is just edging above the 21 monthly average that you see right there. The monthly average is about 5,261. Now, right now we're above this level. But remember, we need to see 2 consecutive closing months above the 21 monthly average. In other words, for this scenario to be confirmed, we need to see not just the month of April above the 21 monthly average, but the month of May as well. So if we see 2 months, month of April and the month of May, above the 21 monthly average, if that happens, that could potentially confirm a bull market has started in Bitcoin, similar to what we saw in 2015. By the way, do I think this scenario is likely? I do not know. I think that actually on the first attempt, Bitcoin is going to make above the 21 monthly average potentially could fail. So I think likely, potentially by next month or so, we might see Bitcoin getting rejected from these levels and coming back down. But let's wait and see. Bottom line is this. Even though I consider this scenario to be unlikely at present on the first attempt, maybe on the second attempt it might succeed. But on the first attempt above this moving average, I think it probably will fail. But we can just wait and find out if we get 2 consecutive closes above the monthly average or not. All right, guys, let's go now to scenario number 3, which is quite interesting. And I got to tell you, out of the 3 scenarios that I'm going to show you, I think this third one is potentially more realistic. And you're about to find out why. The reason why I consider this third scenario to be more realistic is because I actually think that this current rally we're seeing here in Bitcoin is likely to fail. So even though we're seeing a nice major rally here in Bitcoin, I think on the balance of probabilities, this rally is unlikely to get above the rectangular formation I showed you, which is above the 6,000 to 6,800 level. I think it's unlikely to get above that level. I think we'll likely see this rally eventually fail, maybe near the resistance levels here. And then I'm looking for Bitcoin to potentially fall from resistance levels back down to the support levels, important support levels, which is this rectangular formation you see down here, this blue rectangular formation, which is between 3,800 to 4,000 levels. This is going to be a key support level on Bitcoin. So what this means is this. In this third scenario, if Bitcoin falls back down towards this rectangular formation, if it holds the support level, if it holds it, and then starts to do this, in other words, holds it and starts to bounce and strongly move back up again like this, so there's a major reversal, that could actually potentially show that we have entered a bull market. Because why? Because it means buyers are stepping in and protecting Bitcoin at this rectangular formation. It means buyers are interested at these levels. So that's the third scenario, which means that if Bitcoin comes back down to the 4,000 to 3,800 levels, and these levels hold, and Bitcoin starts to move back up again like this, that could potentially show that Bitcoin actually has bottomed here, and we could be starting another bull market potentially in Bitcoin. All right, guys, again, I think out of the 3 scenarios I've shown you here in this video, this third scenario is probably more realistic. I don't think the first 2 scenarios are likely. But in any case, guys, at least we have now 3 scenarios as to potentially showing to us when a bull market could likely start in Bitcoin. And by the way, let me just say this also, it's quite important that if this support level does not hold, and if Bitcoin actually fails to hold on to the support level and falls below the 3,800 support level, if it fails to hold this rectangular formation at the support level, then very likely we're heading back down to test the previous lows of February and even the lows of December. All right, guys. So guys, I hope this video has helped. And if it has, please give it a thumbs up and also please subscribe for future updates. Thanks very much indeed. Bye for now.